Welcome to Red Dirt D&D. I'm Michael Cross and I play Elias Stone, a human cleric.
I'm Connor Shenold. I play Sable, a half-elf rogue.
I'm Johnny Payne and I play August E. Greymore, a human fighter.
I'm Carrie Hester and I play Moxie, a tiefling bard.
And I'm Brooke Bullock, your DM. Please join us as we explore the curse of the Clockwork City. Our heroes have safely returned the kids to the Siren Song, where a makeshift sleepover orphanage has taken place. Rhapsody has shared some concerning news with Moxie about August E. Greymore, and the morning has come. Our heroes are feeling rested, better, stronger. Let's say second level. Yay! As the sun rises and children start to stir, those of us who slept over at the Siren Song are also waking up. Thoughts, ideas, actions, intrigue.
So you wake up, you can smell bread and something a little bit sweet that is maybe maple syrup. And you can look around the room and see children face deep in pancakes. From the kitchen, you hear way more noise than you should for pancakes. Maybe a hastily covered curse word or two. Moxie comes out of the kitchen, flour on her face, just mumbles to herself, I've never given Aria the day off. I don't cook.
Maybe this noise and clanging and banging has woken up August as well. August, as you wake up, crouched, hunched down, respectfully a foot or two away from you is a reptilian face holding a cup of coffee, waiting for your eyes to open up.
Before I even look over and notice him, I open my eyes to one of the loud clangs and the low roar that's coming from the food and cooking and kitchen. And I mumble to myself, this is why I don't have any pets. I look over, or do I?
Ha! Death blade! Death drink!
I take it and then set it right down on the table.
And he skitters back a little bit.
Where's Otto?
And Otto is over there in the corner, undoubtedly awake, scanning the room, looking.
Need, want, serve.
Go eat.
Okay.
And he skitters over toward the front door.
Nah.
And he turns back around.
Go eat with them.
And he totally punches over, very diminutive and broken, and drags his kobold feet toward the kitchen line.
He doesn't want pancakes?
I will get up and walk over to the bar, set the cup of coffee down and slide it away from me. Can I get some juice, please?
Get it yourself, I'm a little busy.
Where's the doctor? As I walk around behind the bar, I'll look around, scan the room for the good doctor.
Our early riser.
Oh, yes. I've actually been out already. I come into the bar and I'm like, oh, you're up. Didn't want to wake you. I just wanted to go out and see if there's any activity down at the fishery.
Can I pour you a juice? Don't worry, they'll put it on my tab.
No, the fishery was quiet. There wasn't anything out front. Where is Sable in the morning?
Probably a couple of minutes behind Elias. I will step in through the doors of the Siren Song and make my way over to the bar. If anyone looks over at me, you see the beginnings of a bruise starting to appear on my cheekbone, and I've got a split in my lip, which you don't necessarily recall being there when you saw me last.
Sable, are you all right? You look like you got yourself hurt.
Maybe you're taking
I'm
a
good.
hit yesterday?
I was up to some other stuff last night. No need to worry about it.
Shout from the kitchen. Is Sable here?
Yes, Moxie, I'm here.
Sable, that tea that you like, I had to move it. It's behind the rum now.
I'll hop behind the bar and start making myself a cup of tea.
Breakfast activities happen, things like that.
I am making pancakes for 30 children who
There
are
you go.
starving to death. If you look at the pancakes, they are Moxie is not good at this job. They're unevenly cooked. They're not circles.
One side's burnt, one side's still doughy. There was no flip at all.
No flip.
The children
Just
are
cooking it
hungry,
through.
so they don't care, and they're eating them anyway.
You cover anything with enough maple syrup. you know.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how it tastes.
Liza's over there whispering to one of them, yeah, Arya does such a better job at this.
The kids are talking and chattering a little bit about different things. They're not recovered, for sure, but spirits are obviously better. Warm bellies make for better attitudes and a little bit of hope. Speaking of hope, what do you guys hope to do with these children?
Let's try and figure out everyone's name, where you belong.
Of the 20 or so kids that are here, the 18 or so kids that are here, there were 22 or so that have been missing, but only about 18 that have made it back. The other 4 were kids that went down to the room and never came back. There's only 2 of them that seem to belong to families.
Do they know where they live?
Yeah, Suri and Mara, who helped out, both have homes they were abducted from.
Your worker could be able to get them home.
Oh yeah, Harmony can take them home, no problem. She knows the city well, grew up here.
All right. For the rest of you, you don't have any place to stay.
So Deke, Tomas, and Eliza are from the Illuminated Light Orphanage. 8 or 9 of them were from other different orphanages around town, and there's 5 or 6 that were just homeless, just, vagrant children living on the street.
Are any of these other orphanages the Piercing Light?
No, none of them.
Of course.
That's what's pointing to the Piercing Light Orphanage.
A couple of them are from the Beacon House. A couple of them are from the Hopewell Haven. So
I say we give the kids back to the Illuminated Light. They can take care of where they need to go afterwards.
that one's easy to do.
Yeah, so I'm going to take them, as soon as they've had breakfast and cleaned up, I'm going to take them to the Illuminated Light Orphanage.
And Sable will follow you.
All right.
Are you following me covertly, or are you just with me?
I'm just with you.
Okay.
Very good. Would August like to go with them on this little excursion one by one, or staying here at the bar, or going somewhere else?
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you coming?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
So it's
the
all-
4 of you take the children back to the Illuminated Light. So Deacon Elisa and Tomas back to the Illuminated Light Orphanage. There is, as happy as a celebration could be for most of those kids, as we found out. This is their home. It's a good place. They feel especially safe to be back there. The director meets them there and is thrilled, excited to see them, just effusive in her praise that you guys were able to bring them back safely.
I'm guessing you can take care of the rest of the kids, find out where they go to, right?
Oh, yes. So if you have other children, you said there were some living on the street too.
Right, I've just brought all the kids.
This whole entourage. Great job. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah, so, yes, of course we got the 4 children back, but some of them say they belong to other orphanages. You have contacts with them, I'm sure.
Yes,
and
yes.
then if the kids decide to go live back on the street, certainly that's their choice, but maybe we could find a home for them.
Yes.
Maybe even here at the Illuminated Light. I know Ningahe doesn't like to turn people away, and so...
We'll definitely find a place for them. And if not, then we'll make sure that they can grow up and be fine citizens.
Sister, I'd love to talk with you privately. Well, the 5 of us, if you've got a moment. Once you get the kids taken care of.
I too have a few questions for you.
Yes.
And so you get the kids settled. This director introduces herself as Raina and is more than willing to sit and talk with you guys. There's like a little family greeting area or whatever that has enough seating for everybody.
Raina, we want to fill you in on what we experienced when we found these children, that they were inside of a fishery run by some nefarious people who had apparently kidnapped them and were disfiguring them
Oh my.
and then selling them to a family here in Iron Spy.
Why in the world would all children are valuable, but why would they sell them to a...
Now, to be clear, that information did come to us from a secondhand source that maybe could have been exaggerating. We haven't seen it with our own eyes.
And these children could be useful if you sell them as, for free labor, but they were removing one of their arms. It doesn't seem right that they would do that if they were trying to get free labor.
Yes, so the purpose for these clients buying them? Oh dear, surely it's not for labor then. Something else?
There are other things that could be used, and certainly you don't need one of your arms to do it.
What do you know about the Piercing Light Sanctuary?
Oh, well, they're very well funded. The Pierce family is their main philanthropy and incredibly well funded. They have wonderful resources. They almost always are able to find placement for their kids. And for those that don't, oftentimes the Pierce family just hires them on to work right there in their various businesses that they have.
Can I do, not necessarily an insight on like her intentions, but just seeing if, I guess like she truly believes this about them. Maybe like she's trying to hide anything.
Yeah.
19.
Yeah, she seems very honest.
Okay.
If this isn't true, she fully believes it.
Okay.
August, you were going to think or say?
She was saying, but if they're doing labor, then why cut an arm off? It must be for something else. Any thought of what that something else might be?
I don't really know.
So I was thinking that there are other things that could be used. You could have used a slave for, maybe even sacrifice.
Oh, well, I've never heard anything about that. I mean, out here in Iron Spire, of course, you have some who don't follow the ways of the goddess that could have evil intents like that. Obviously, there's power to be gained through blood, but I've never heard anything about that.
Right, so there's no deity that you know of that asks for child sacrifice?
No, I mean, they're the dark ones. I mean, every pantheon has one, but no activity that I know here of in Iron Spire anyway.
What have you heard about these names? And I'm going to bring up the names of the doctors on that blackboard that we found.
The names that are on your list: Dr. Ignatius, Dr. Marigold, Dr. Quillstone, and of course the one that gave a little hope and trepidation to our own doctor, Dr. Stonecipher.
What do you know about these names? Dr. Ignatius, Dr. Marigold, Dr. Quillstone, and Dr. Stonecipher.
Well, I recognize a couple of those. Dr. Marigold, a very compassionate physician, a bit of an expert in herbal remedies with a little touch of magical healing, probably a devout follower of Katsuni, the creator god. And then Dr. Stonecipher, she's, and a thought is in this woman's head for a moment. She's wonderful, also very compassionate and an expert in prosthetics. The other name I don't know very much anything about at all, but Dr. Ignatius focuses a lot on alchemy and experimental medicine. I do know that, but I don't know much else.
Do you know where to find Iris Stonecipher?
Yeah, at the Iron Spire Infirmary, one of the nicest hospitals in Iron Spire.
Well, if you hear of anything, I guess I'm staying over at the Siren Song.
If you get the message to the Siren Song, we'll make sure he gets it.
Yes, I can do that. And I'll take care of these children, the 2 that go home, and then the other 5 that don't have a home. We'll see what we can do with them.
Raina, thank you very much for your time.
As we get up to kind of walk off, I'll slide a little closer to Moxie. Hey Mox, you pick up that hat from that kobold?
I had to get something out of him. I felt bad turning over the only leverage we had. I had to get something back. Yeah, it's upstairs in my room at the song.
Yeah, I'm real disappointed how that turned out. A good way to make it up for me is if I have that hat.
Sable, that sounds like a bribe.
Oh, does it?
Why would you need a hat of disguise if nobody ever sees you?
I need to speak to a prostheticist. Be weird if came to see a prostheticist with no need for a prosthetic.
Would it be more odd for a member of the Sapphire Society to ask a prostheticist about a prosthetic? Or would it be more odd for the owner of a bar to ask a prostheticist about a prosthetic?
I'm not going in any official capacity.
I know someone who... No, he wouldn't. I know someone who has a prosthetic.
Well, you're just gonna sit on this? Look at this guy.
I wasn't sure if I wanted to add his element, to this investigation.
They get it from Stonecipher?
I'm not sure who his doctor was, but the point is, if so, then he can just walk right in and request an adjustment, and if not, he can limp right in and ask for a fitting. Either way, he's the in for one of us.
You trust him get the information we need?
I do trust this man, but he sometimes it's just imagine you trust a train to get from point A to point B, but if that train were to get off the rails, it did its best.
I don't understand your metaphor.
I would trust this guy with my life, but man, he's a wild card.
How about we make sure there's no middleman?
Is there anything Dr. Stone would like to share?
I will say, if it wasn't clear, I'm putting heavy suspicion on Stone Cipher.
Oh, 100%.
So, just to let you know, and just to put all our cards on the table, Iris and I grew up together in the Calamera orphanage. I know her very well. I understand maybe there might be suspicion on her. I could just go talk to her. But if you would like to be more about subterfuge, then certainly that's fine too.
She may be more willing to open up to someone she knows rather than try and avoid any trickery or treachery from us. It's not a bad idea, Doctor.
Except I also understand Sable is that she might not open up everything to a person she knows rather than...
And you'd be more willing to believe her lies if they're lies, because you knew her.
Right, but there's no reason we can't do both. You want to come in using the hat of disguise to look like you need some kind of surgery or prosthetic, and I could go in separately and as a friend. But she asked me to look her up when I came to town, so I've been here for more than almost 24 hours and haven't done that yet.
That could be the route that we take, and I'll look over at Moxie and August. What are y'all's plans? You want to check out that piercing light sanctuary?
I do. I find it hard to believe that a noble family, it's that none of the children were missing from the piercing light orphanage. Are they that dense? Do they not think that would not go unnoticed? Every orphanage in town is reporting kidnappings except for theirs.
August, another quick thought is you or whoever wanted to could talk to your friend on the side and just ask him about his experience.
And I could go see my friend and ask him what he knows.
All right, meet back up at the Siren Song, if that's okay with you, Moxie.
Yeah. Hey, August, do you think we could swing by the song on our way to see your friend? Is it on the way?
It is on the way.
Excellent. I'm going to look at Sable, and then I'm going to glance at Dr. Stone, and then I'm going to look back at Sable, and then I'm going to glance at August, and then I'm going to, squint and then communicate. Listen, we're friends. Even if we're not best friends, we're friends. And communicate this idea of, you keep an eye on him, I'll keep an eye on him, we'll meet back up.
Seeing this from Moxie, I will give a subtle shrug and then a slight nod of acknowledgement of what she's asking. So we go get the hat from the Siren Song.
When you get back to the Siren Song, the place is amazingly clean.
Yeah, Harmony's real good.
Well, she has a helper.
We left Kobe here, didn't we?
That's right. And
Damn right we did.
yeah, exactly.
Since we all went back to the Siren Song, Sable, come with me, I'll get that hat for you.
All right.
And we go upstairs. Moxie lives on the second story with Rhapsody. A little bit of magic unlocks the door. Walks in. You can hear humming. Rhapsody's humming while she paints in her studio off to the right. To the left is a little fireplace that, if you did, the geometry would line up with the fireplace downstairs to share a chimney. It's just a nice little cozy apartment. She walks back to her bedroom, grabs the hat from where she threw it on top of her dresser, and then is gonna open a trunk at the foot of her bed, rummage around in there, grab a few things, put some things in her pocket, maybe an extra dagger, maybe, something or a thing or two, and then comes back out with the hat and says, "Now, Sable, I know you're mad at me about the egg. I'm not gonna apologize for it. It was the right thing to do. But here's what I will tell you. Rhapsody did some work for a woman named Laura a few months ago. And Laura said that she was being harassed at a job by a guy named August Graymore. And she needed some paperwork that would help remove the harasser from her workplace. Rhapsody made it, obviously. She even paid for the premium feed. So I'm going to keep an eye on him. You keep an eye on Dr. Stone and his questionable allegiances, and we'll figure out what's going on with all of this. Find the rest of those kids.
All right, Moxie, and I'll grab the hat from you. not putting it on just yet, and I think this will settle whatever anger I might have towards you.
It better, because I'm about to be seen walking into a suspicious apartment, apparently.
But yeah, best keep an eye on that Greymore. With that, I'll lift the hat up and put it on, concentrating to remove one of my arms from the elbow joint down. And playfully to Moxie, never looked good in hats. Let's go. And head downstairs.
I will pop my head into the studio and tell Rapsy where I'm going. I should be back by nightfall. If I'm not, August is just as bad as we thought he is. Sable comes downstairs first, and then about 45 seconds later, Moxie comes back downstairs.
As you guys are gathering around, real quick, one of the other things I did whilst I was out this morning was I went and bought some scroll paper. I'm going to make myself a scroll later today, so maybe help us out if we ever needed it. But for the rest of the money, here is, I split this up for us. Each of us gets 35 gold pieces and 1 silver piece. So, we're going together?
Yep, you and I?
All right, you guys gonna go see Iris Stonecipher. So Dr. Elias and Sable in disguise approach the Ironspire Infirmary. It is a fairly good size stonework building. It's got an elaborate entranceway to it, and you step inside and there is the little information desk and a little lobby and things. Kind of looks like an apartment building, sort of, only elaborate. Obviously there are hospital rooms and different levels and things of it, and a quick inquiry at the desk.
Before we do that,
Yes?
are we going in together?
Yeah.
Okay, because if you want to, you could go in separately. Because if you think that if you go in with me, you're going in with someone she knows.
The way that I think of this, I go in with you. Depending on how busy they are, you can actually, old friend coming to town, she's going to spend more of her time with you than just me sitting there being, I'm just going to be a new customer.
So I do know you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I want. So are you using an alias?
I will give you the name Winslow.
So yes, go up to the information desk.
Yeah. And, you're able to do, and there perhaps is a small sending stone element that happens. And then a few minutes later, from one of the side doors, the door opens and you see who you easily recognize as Iris Stonecipher. She has that classic Victorian doctor garb with a dress and very tightly bound white overcloak, white, almost like an apron, sort of, that's on it.
Does it have sleeves?
It does have sleeves, yes indeed, but they're poofy and have big cuffs, easy to roll up as she comes your way. And when she sees you, her face just shines, it just brightens up, and she doesn't run, but she very quickly comes over to you, and you can tell she's just thrilled, and she's like, Elias, and she gives you a hug.
Iris, it is so good to see you.
What brings you to Ironspire while you're here?
Well, I was actually doing some work with the Temple of Ningahe, and I just happened to come by and ran into a friend of mine, Winslow, here. You can see Winslow needs a prosthetic. I said, hey, I happen to know the best prosthetician in Ironspire.
Oh, well, yes. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Winslow.
Nice to meet you as well, and acting as if it's my dominant hand with that stomp motion to almost go to shake her hand, but then sorry about that, ma'am. I'm still getting used to not having this arm again. I'll pat my arm and reach the other hand out to shake.
It's quite all right. So kind of left-handed or whatever. And you can tell your insight's good enough that she purposefully is keeping her eyes at your eyes and purposely not noticing the little flub of starting to move your arm. And she very efficiently, just smoothly shakes you left-handedly instead of a perhaps more traditional right-hand shake. And she says, Mr. Winslow, yes, please, let's talk for just a few moments.
Do you mind if I join you? I've always been interested in your work, Iris. I'd love to see what you do.
But yes, I would love to. I was just going to say to Mr. Winslow, if you don't mind me having just a moment, both of you can come, but just having just a moment as maybe Dr. Elias and I talk about a few things on the side, and I'll incorporate the two together.
Oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. I completely understand. Old friends need to catch up, right?
Yes. So, Nagahe, and she kind of reaches out and makes a motion toward the holy symbol that you have. So, when did you take a full devotion to Nagahe?
Well, over the past few years, I had fallen away from, I had the belief of when I was a kid, and my parents, before they died, taught me a lot of her tenets, but certainly after my wife had died and I'd fallen away even from the practice. I think it brought me back into working, and so now I'm back into healing, I'm back into taking care of people.
And she smiles deeply. You always had a passion for fixing things. Well, we both have been led in slightly but yet adjacent ways and helping others.
Right, and I like to dabble a little bit in prosthetics, but certainly nothing to your skill level.
Oh, yeah, and you guys are walking along and you can tell she's leading you like to perhaps her office, a little office space. Opens the door and come in, please sit, we'll talk. And there are displays of like different prosthetic things on shelves around the office, 5 or 6, not a plethora of them, but 5 or 6 different types of displays for there. And she goes, it's just such a way to, if someone has an injury and there's not immediate magical healing available, then often the limb or the fingers, they're lost. Ever since we've had a chance to really achieve some iron-inspired technology, it opens up a whole new wealth of things. So, Mr. Winslow, how did your accident happen?
Factories aren't the safest places to be working,
Yes.
And unfortunately, my arm got stuck somewhere it shouldn't have, and only doctor on call was that of the mundane.
I understand, yes. Even the loss of fingers can be very sad. And then she reaches out and puts a hand on your shoulder. And of course, the loss of a hand or limbs, arms or legs, it can feel devastating, but it's totally something that can be worked around and worked through. And she kind of looks back and forth between the two of you. Think of the endurance and the dedication that it needs. Such drive for folks to reconnect, even a willpower and ambition. And technology is so wonderful now. And she walks over and grabs a display item off of a display shelf. Our original prosthetics were nothing more than just an arm strap that you would put on, and maybe with a hook or something like that. But now we've got some spring technology that we can use. And she takes this little thing that she has and winds up a turnkey on it, and it's got some gears, and then she reaches her hand inside the stub end of it. You can hear like a click and stuff, and the hand attachment opens and closes. And so with training, you can learn how to use the muscles you still have to send signal, to the movement of the muscle and open and close. Now, it's not real delicate, it's not real precise. Oftentimes we have to set the turnkey at a particular strength, depending on what you want to do, grabbing a hold of something strong versus like an egg or something like that. Oh, I'm rambling on.
I notice this is an adult arm. Have you ever made any of these things for children?
And she pauses, you see this little shadow go across her face, and she says, yes, recently I don't know if you've heard or not, but we've had a tragic stint of injured children lately. There've been river sharks and alligator attacks and perhaps some unsafe working conditions. A few of the children have come and said it's a giant lizard that ate their arm or whatever, baby dragon or something like that. They're very creative sometimes, but I know that if we had some type of rampaging creature, that the authorities would get word of it and take care of it. But anyway.
Was there any kind of connection with any of these kids?
No, well, the only connection with most of these children when they come in is that they have a benefactor, someone has paid for all of their work. And she moves over to a different item. She says, and for the latest ether upgrades. Look at this. And she goes over to Winslow, in quotes, and says, now that other one was turnkey and springs, but we're working on using the power of ether in the same way that run our dirigibles and our big items. See these tubes along the side and such, right? That they can be powered with a more delicacy in that regard. I'm almost confident, I'm sure that within even our lifetime, we'll find some way to reconnect them to the willpower within our bodies that runs down all the numerous tendrils within our bodies. Find some way where we can, through our willpower, control these in a way like a real living arm.
So taking care of these kids has helped you advance prosthetic technology?
To a certain extent, yes.
So who is this benefactor?
Well, we don't really know. We do know many times the children, in fact, maybe I would have to check my records, but several of them have come from the Pearson Light Orphanage, but we don't know exactly who their benefactor is on the other side of that.
Well, would it not be the owner of the Pearson Light Sanctuary? I guess owner's not the correct word.
Patron?
Yeah, like whoever the main patron of the Pearson Light Church would be, assumedly they would be the one taking care of all these kids.
That would make sense. Zylan Pierce is the head of the Pierce family business right now, and he likes to keep a low profile. It's very insightful, Mr. Winslow. He might want to not be known as the one supplying for these children. Maybe he just wants to...
The act of a good heart, right?
Yes, and if I be honest, maybe he wants the Pearson Light to be the pristine orphanage of the city and hasn't opened it up to everyone else yet.
So I want to do an insight check on her to make sure that she's telling the truth.
You bet.
Yeah. Can I join in on that?
Go right ahead. Yeah, both of you can.
That one.
Oh, not one. You totally good friends.
Yeah.
100%.
My insight was a 22.
Yeah. She seems to be telling the truth. At least believes what she's saying at any rate. But yeah, she definitely seems to be telling the truth. Her passion for prosthetics is undoubtedly true. And there was genuine worry about the number of children recently that have been injured. She goes, well, enough of me jabber-jobbing. Thank you, Elias, for bringing in your friend. So, Mr. Winslow, and kind of without really warning, she just steps over across the front of you and reaches out and grabs the back of the stub arm right up there, you know, the tricep or whatever, and says, let's just take a look at you here. She grabs that arm and then reaches out to move your clothing out of the way of the stub, and her hand finds something invisible there.
Red Dirt D&D Curse of the Clockwork City is Brooke Bullock as our Dungeon Master, Kiri Hester as Moxie, Connor Shenold as Sable, Johnny Payne as August E. Graymore, and I'm Michael Cross as Dr. Elias Stone. Our theme music comes from Ovani Sound. Our sound effects and additional music courtesy of Jeffrey McBride, Monument Studios, Describe.com, and TabletopAudio.com. Dice for the Red Dirt D&D cast provided by ST Way Gaming. You can find us at reddirtdnd.com. If you are enjoying Red Dirt D&D, make sure to subscribe, rate us, and leave a comment. Also, tell your friends about Red Dirt D&D. You can also support the show at patreon.com/reddirtdnd at whatever giving level works best for you. Join us next time as we discover more secrets in the Clockwork City.